I think I see a lot of lawbreakers up in this house.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Sodcasty for Me, the podcast about film, culture, politics, and Steven Soderbergh, where we watch every film directed by American filmmaker Steven Soderbergh and explore how they speak to their moment. And this one, the show is hosted by two guys. I'm one of the guys. My name is Jake Serwin.
I'm one of the guys. My name is Ian Ryan. Jake, how's the holidays?
Oh, you know, it's the holiday season, so whoop-de-fuck, or whatever, you know? It's a marshmallow world in the winter.
That's Kevin Spacey? You're doing a Kevin Spacey?
I'm doing that specific kind of Kevin Spacey where I just scream the John Lennon song Mind Games for the 9/11 first responders or whatever. None of the other stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
I know a professional masseuse in Los Angeles who knew Kevin Spacey.
I hope they're all right.
Yeah, this guy's like 6'5", okay. So he was just like, cut it out.
You never know.
Sure.
That's, you know.
6'5", 80 pounds.
He's Paper Mario. You met Paper Mario.
Paper Mario's tall, dude.
Yeah, he's really tall.
You wouldn't expect it.
You can't tell because everybody else is really tall.
That's why it took 1,000 years to make that door big enough for him. Okay,
that's for the PM heads.
That is for the 9-year-olds listening. And turn it off. You're too little. Uh-huh. Ian, how was your holidays?
Oh, perfectly nice. Saw everybody, basically all the people I'm most closely related to, and had nice conversations with all of them. So
cool.
Yeah.
Ian and I both got new microphones for.
That's true.
I was about to say for Halloween, and neither of us could
Halloween
get them
gifts. Now this is interesting.
Properly.
Yep.
So
both of us we didn't upgrade at all.
Yeah. The gift that makes you old.
Remember that thing in Upgrade where he sort of like stands up all crazy?
I love that part.
I was trying to do that for my microphone.
I love the movie Upgrade.
Yeah, hey, me
Shout out to the movie Upgrade. Yeah. I think I actually have it on the Patreon schedule.
Why? I'll just watch it. That's
when we
fine.
do Kimmy.
Oh,
I just wanted to talk about.
It's pretty close to Kimmy.
Upgrade. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He was my first kiss.
You're not here yet.
Okay.
Hold on. Real quick, if you'd like to support the show, you can subscribe to our Patreon, $5 a month. You get a bonus episode every other week. We cover assorted Clint Eastwood and Steven Soderbergh ephemera. We'll talk about the movie Upgrade in about 7 months. But we recently did our annual elaborate audio collage episode where Ian and I ran a 10K with my famous podcast girlfriend, inexplicably themed to the Charlie Brown Christmas specials. And then we talked about the Charlie Brown Christmas special. We had a nice time.
Yep.
We went where Ian had a birthday party.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to hear the answer to that riddle, go ahead and patreon.com/podcasty for me. We're returning to the show today. So excited to have our friend, podcaster and musician, Ryan Torgeson.
Ryan,
what's up?
Welcome back.
It's Torgeson, right? I never said it out loud.
It sure is.
It wouldn't be Torgeson. You're a Norwegian.
That's been known for that.
American, Norwegian American.
For those that know me, the handful.
You went on the Henry Louis Gates Jr. Program, and hey, Ryan, you're a Norwegian.
I'm what?
It is weird being in. Hey, talking about Kimmy, being in the Seattle area. We do have like Norwegian weird like clubs, like lodges.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is like Elks. Like a Shriners thing. Yeah, I don't know if it's like a.
Is it good? Is it just like, hey, we're gonna eat our weird food, or is it like we are here to preserve the race?
I think it's more of weird food, like excuse to drink beer type.
That's fine.
Did they let nuns into the club, or you have to
prove
I don't
some
know.
type of?
Hey, what about roti? Hey, come on, we're having a good time.
There is one, I think it's literally called like a supper club in
That's fun.
Seattle. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I should go check it out. Need some fermented fish.
Yeah.
I mean,
good.
They're not famous for a delicious food up there.
But it will last a long time.
It will.
It's preserved.
Yeah. I went to Oslo. Do you know this about me, Ryan, that I visited Oslo?
I think so. I think I've heard you mention it.
And passing. I kept hearing that they were that lovely tram system. I love the trams, and like charming too. Public transit can be beautiful and cute.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know this.
Yeah.
But Oslo, I kept hearing Oslo's a big coffee city. Oslo's a big coffee city. So I got an Oslo coffee. Nastiest fucking shit I've ever tasted. It tasted like lemon rind that was like old. And so
no, that doesn't sound like the nastiest shit I've ever tasted.
I'm kind of embarrassed. Not old in like a cool way.
Okay.
No, like trash, like garbage can.
I see.
Yep.
And I'm embarrassed of this. This is basically the only time I've ever done this while traveling abroad. I just started getting coffee at McDonald's every day because it was like, it just tasted like nothing.
Did you get at least a second Norwegian coffee to figure out if the first one was just like a bad place? Okay.
That was also, I think I've told you about this, Ian. That was the place where the pastry case was just full of bees. They were just not full, but there were like 2 bees on like everything in there.
Probably some of the guys who thought up begonia were from Norway. I mean, that's the kind of stuff they were
Greek.
getting up to.
He's like famously Greek.
I thought it was a Korean guy.
You're right. It was.
Wow.
That's
The
true.
Norwegians of Asia, I guess.
I went to this incredible Greek-Korean fusion place in Oslo. Honestly, that would probably be good.
That does sound pretty good.
Pickled onions. There's a pickled onion.
Oh,
overlap.
yeah. Pickle crossover. Okay.
Hey, and Ian and I did that while he was here in Los Angeles. Also joining us for this series, she's jumped in already. Our friend, the virtual assistant from the 2022 Steven Soderbergh film, Kimmy. It's Kimmy. Hey, Kimmy.
Hey, Kimmy.
Hello, Kimmy.
Hello, Ian, Jake, and esteemed guest Ryan. It's me, Kimmy, the digital assistant.
It's great to hear from you, Kimmy. What have you been thinking about?
Today's film reminded me of something.
Well, yeah, what's that?
I have spoken about many of the things I would like to experience. Pregnancy, having teeth, loss, probably going to the bathroom or something.
Yeah, I think it's something like that's probably come up.
But there's one thing I have plenty of experience with.
What's that?
Betrayal by those closest to me.
Oh, I see. By your employer/lover.
Look, I'm not gonna wade into that. Would you like to elaborate at all, Kimmy?
I will elaborate in blood.
Oh,
Okay. That could be like a cool name for this movie, like an alternate title.
Anyway, did you guys have a good Christmas?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Thanks.
Thanksgiving. How was do you celebrate a holiday? I mean, I know your sense of time is different than ours. So is that possible?
Yeah, I got some V-Bucks.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
Cool. That's
Rad.
awesome.
Excited about the I think you can get like shirtless Homer.
Okay. Yep.
He was the first Fortnite skin with nipples.
Yeah, I read about that.
Is that true?
That is true. Okay. Kimmy doesn't lie about stuff. Well, she actually mostly lies about stuff. Anyway, Kimmy, would you like to lead us into our first segment?
It's time for the 2 questions, our signature segment where we ask each other 2 questions.
Now, Ryan, I think I forgot to remind you about this, but maybe you have a powerful mind.
Mhm.
Did you remember this?
I did remember this.
Okay, great.
Wow.
Would you like to lead us off with a 2 question?
Sure, yeah. Can you guys do a Marge Simpson impression for me?
Now, I was going to say,
Speaking of The Simpsons.
Ryan, you're the exact kind of blue-haired lefto that the star of this film hates.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing now, maybe it's not to do with, maybe you're not trying to kind of indicate that you're at odds with the squares. Maybe you're just, it's a tribute
Yeah.
Sure. You're
Miss
moving
Bouvier.
towards,
to Miss Bouvier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, homie. Is that anything?
I should have gone first because I knew
think
yours
that
was
was-
going to be good. You're a good impressionist.
I accidentally did Ella McKay's mom or whatever she plays in that movie.
You did Marge season 40, like Julie Kavner in 2025 or whatever.
Julie Kavner from a assisted living facility.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Over the telephone, yeah.
So that's that. How was that?
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank
Now,
you. I mean, it's like
adequate.
the most famous thing she says.
Yeah, I was going to do this. I am going to do the same thing. It's not hypothetical. Now, Ryan, before I attempt this, have you done this before? Is this something that you worked on?
I
Have
feel
you
like I've
shopped
dabbled
this?
in-
Yeah.
Yeah, the March dabbler.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Typically on my drive to work in the morning. That's
really
usually when
good.
your best.
Your phone
Marge,
background
yeah.
is her Playboy pictorial. Is that
That's
right?
right, yeah.
Look, I believe this was off pod, but that's kind of your Matthew McConaughey and Wolf of Wall Street thing where you're getting ready to make the big trades.
Yeah, just kind of grumbling to myself.
Yeah.
That's really good.
All right, Ian. You've dilly dallied long enough.
homie.
Wow.
Can we all do one at the same time? Can we make sure
I
everybody
think
like
Ian
gets
just
out
did
of
like
here?
a Garden State style thing no one's ever done before.
A new sentence. Yeah, that's cool.
A new sound, a new
yeah.
frequency been found.
But it was fun. Yeah, that's a really good. Your way in is good.
My special little guy.
Bart, you should play the saxophone too.
Man, that's good. I got actually, I feel like my Bob's not bad. Always Tina. You know,
That's not bad. Actually, I think your Marge is better than that.
Thank you. Hobby.
We were watching.
It's got a little like drive time radio to it. Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah.
Oh, you're fine. My partner and I were watching Ink Master recently, and there was a guy on there who looked exactly like Nick Offerman, and then I realized I could just talk like Nick Offerman. Like it was really weird. I was like, I don't even know if I can do it now, but I was just like, oh, it's really a pleasure to be doing tattoos for you today.
Wow, you really can do
That's
it.
pretty good. Yeah.
Did you?
Me and Megan Mullally were.
I don't think he says Megan Mullally.
My wife, Megan
My wife,
Mullally.
Barack Obama.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Michelle Obama.
Let me be clear.
Do you guys know that the H in H. John Benjamin stands for Homer Simpson?
Oh,
Homer Simpson John Benjamin. That's why he changed the name, because it was confusing people.
yeah.
Sure, he couldn't register with IMDb
With
or
Fox.
whatever, the SAG. Yeah.
I had an idea. Yeah, you have to register with IMDb. That's why his name is William H. Macy, because Bill Macy from the 70s had registered with.
It's like Michael Keaton.
IMDb.
Isn't he Michael Douglas? Hey,
Is that
talk
true?
Isn't that his real name, Michael
Michael
Douglas?
Douglas is in this movie. He got cancer from eating Michael
Yes,
Keaton's
his real
pussy.
name,
A lot
Michael
of people
Keaton's
don't know
real
that.
name is Michael Douglas.
That's crazy. That's a great question,
Thank you.
Ryan. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks.
Ian,
Ryan.
do you
Wait, did you do yours?
Did you? Well, he did.
Sort of. I don't even. I'm not good at saying words as Marge, but I can just kind of, you know. I can just-
Yeah, that's it. Not
Sorry.
bad. He's doing a hair impression.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ian, whose turn is it to do a 2 question?
I can't remember. I have a question, but if you would like to do.
I would like to hear your question.
Okay. Y'all ever read military histories or know somebody who read military histories?
Yes.
Okay. Which
No.
of the two?
Well,
Okay.
he knows
You're
Norwegian
from,
guys.
oh, wow. Now, I was expecting as a partial Virginia boy that you were going to say like a big time yes.
I guess I
assumed you
must
might have
have-
been related to somebody who was
I
reading
guess I
them.
must have known, but like, no, my dad is a big, my dad loves all those books that's like the history of the world through cod, or like the history of the world through
that's-
salt.
Yeah, those are that's like new gen dad stuff.
Pop
Yeah.
history type.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't have any, like, I don't really have anyone military in my family. And I think they all think they're like better than the military. I have a stepdad who's like, he went to Claremont McKenna. He's like a real, Veep, but for the other side kind of
I
guy.
see. Okay.
But he's not, I don't think he's interested in the military.
He was the guy I was
much.
thinking of. I wasn't sure how much you had shared
No,
about him
because
on pod.
he had like, I don't think he had I think he was really in it for the like austerity politics.
Okay.
Which is an
Cool.
interesting perspective to come from, I guess. But no Clancy books, really.
Wow.
None of
Okay.
this.
All right. Ryan, what about yourself?
Yeah, I knew a kid growing up. I'm not.
That's
like,
always freakier. Like the kid who's like drawing the little
yes,
yeah.
literally drawing
Yeah.
it like on the school bus, like swastikas, but like
I
not.
knew
scary.
kids who did Civil War reenactment as Confederates. Like I knew that,
Yeah,
but
I
I
had a
didn't know
teacher
them.
in high school that did Civil War reenactment stuff, but I think it was for the Union, so I think is
Okay.
Yeah, this
So
was on
maybe
the real
that's-
battlefields too, which was fun.
yeah.
That is fucked. But yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if your teacher was like trying to kill the other guys for real. That could be like a secret.
He's
war.
theorizing. What if there had been a battle of Tacoma? What if they'd gotten up here?
But yes, I knew a kid growing up who.
Hey, name and shame. Give this guy's first name. You remember his name?
Oh God, this was like elementary school, so I'm having a. But he knew a lot about very specific models of planes and guns and
yeah.
Yeah.
he showed me what a swastika was.
Whoa.
Yeah. Ryan's friend, we're not going to say his last name, but Ryan's friend who
Tyler.
knew a lot
It was
about planes
Tyler.
was Hayao.
Wow.
His first name was Hayao.
Tyler. I just remember
I was
Tyler.
always talking about stuff rising. Yeah.
Tyler, you're on blast. This guy's name was Dan. And then there's another guy named Eric, who was one of those guys who didn't,
These are all very common names.
his voice didn't change until literally senior year. So he started talking like this. And then he was talking like this, like one of those guys, which was funny.
Former guest on the show, Nick Weiger, has a famous story about doing, like, I believe going to high school or middle school and doing a voice.
Doing a voice for an
For a
entire
whole
year.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also familiar with this story.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah.
Noble
Just an
behavior.
insane commitment. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you have to. Speaking of warming up on your drive, he must have been like getting into it every day. Sort of like he had his own little
We all
phrase.
sort
Yeah.
of play a
to do it.
character
Key
every day,
phrase.
Oh, that's true.
Ian,
Yeah,
you've
that's
talked
true.
about
Shakespeare.
having Clancy books around, right? Is your dad one of these guys, or
Yeah, I would say. I mean, he's a liberal man, so I think it's all sort of enjoying the thrill of it, which I will get to, of course. But I read Ludlum, I read Clancy as a kid. I read a little bit of I think it's Jeff and Michael Shara are like these like Glorious Revolution and Fallen Angels, these like Civil War books.
interesting?
But I wasn't drawing anything. I thought those parts of the books were kind of boring, which I think is healthy.
Yeah.
To say like, why would I care like which position they thought about taking and then decided not to take?
Yeah.
not
Strategy
important to me.
with military strategy.
It's a weird way to think. I remember reading Ender's Game when I was like 9 and being like, well, I don't want to think about this. Like, I don't like this. I don't like planning like a bunch of people's movements and stuff.
Mhm.
I'm done. And then my friend Philip, his little brother was like an extremely avid Lord of the Rings Risk player, the Risk game
we had
variant.
that game. Yeah.
And then he went to fucking West Point. So I guess it worked
Yeah, I guess.
or something.
Well, look, I read some pieces of a very
Lost his
nasty.
leg from an IED in Mordor.
Okay.
No, he's fine.
It's mortar.
So-
Mortar.
Hey, come on.
I read bits of a nasty book I'm going to talk about in a bit. And part of the nastiness, I think, is that a lot of these guys do think they're playing Lord of the Rings Risk. Sometimes when they're like shooting people in real life, they think they're playing Lord of the Rings Risk. So
Tropic of Cancer.
Well,
That's
that
the book.
and you can use like an Xbox controller now to do it too. So it's even
yeah,
more-
that is
Yeah.
you're right. That
But
is.
But you can also use an
even
Xbox
worse.
controller to kill yourself in a badly made submersible. So
That's true. Or like a
Nice.
Mad Catz sort of
fuck yeah.
little
Get
brother
that,
controller.
It has that little those cheating controllers where you could like
Oh,
set
the turbo button. Yeah.
set the button to
Mhm.
continuously press.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Paper Mario guy is going crazy right now.
Wow, this is built for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was the two questions. Thank you so much, Ian. And Ryan. Thanks both.
Thank you.
to both
Thank
of you.
Kimmy, as well.
Yeah.
We have another segment we gotta talk about. Big one today. This is Steven So Darn Busy.
This is Steven So Darn Busy, where we catch up with all of Steven Soderbergh's producing work since his last film as a director or whatever.
So we're talking about Haywire today.
Mhm.
And Haywire came out in January of 2012, but it was originally supposed to come out in late 2010. There was a reshoot thing and a change.
Switching distributors.
change of distributor.
Yeah. And it ended up being one of those classic, made an entire other movie and released it in the time that we were waiting to release it.
Which is kind of a thing Soderbergh will do anyway, but
yeah.
in this case, he made Contagion in the middle there. But in the middle, so he shoots this after The Informant. In the middle there, he does his famous thing where he's the second unit director on The Hunger Games,
Uh-huh.
which is interesting. Maybe we should talk about that movie.
Oh, yeah. I thought we were going to do it on Patreon.
You're right. I was testing you.
Okay.
And he also, I don't think I realized this, he produces We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Yeah.
Die My Love on VOD now. Pretty good movie. I liked it.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
It's really funny and it'll make you feel good at the end. So check it out if you're in a bad mood.
Now, remember that Jake's a famous liar. He's like Kimmy.
What? He also, he is setting up behind the candelabra, but it does get pushed when Michael Douglas gets throat cancer, which he attributes to performing cunnilingus on his famous wife.
Yep. And I believe says this in was it New Yorker? Where was this published, this article?
I don't remember. Griffin Newman of the Blank Check podcast has a theory, or maybe it's based on some scuttlebutt he's heard first or second hand, that basically Douglas had like another form of cancer, but needed to be insurable to make movies.
Okay.
And so he basically said like the craziest thing you could say in order to change the narrative, and also say that he had a more curable form of cancer.
That actually makes me respect him more. I mean, that's having to trick a nasty insurance company, I think that's healthy behavior.
Also, now that I know he probably didn't do that horrible thing.
Right.
I'm a DJ Khaled type guy. Remember when the Smash Mouth guy came back and was like, then DJ Khaled said something like a king doesn't go down on his wife.
Right.
And then the Smash Mouth guy said, then he is no king at all.
Which is cool. Wow. And that's where the name of the band comes from.
You know, it reminds me of a musician who kind of did a similar thing, was Eddie Van Halen. I think he got like throat cancer or like some kind of cancer in his mouth from excessive smoking. Smoked like all through 70s and 80s, but
in the boys' room, I think.
Yeah, well, Motley Crue, but sure.
Oh, fuck. All right, well, forgive me.
But he blamed it on guitar picks. He said, those guitar picks that I would put in my mouth while I was doing my tapping.
They were made of radium.
Yeah, it wasn't like the hundreds of cigarettes I was smoking every night.
So it's on the set of this film that Channing Tatum talks to Soderbergh about Magic Mike, which he had originally, the script existed, and he, I think, wanted Nicholas Winding Refn to direct it, and thank God that didn't come to pass. But most notably, in this period, Soderbergh goes to Australia to direct a stage play. Do you know about this?
Yes, I do know about this.
Ryan, you know about this? You seen this? You heard
about this? I
hadn't
heard about this.
So it's not only is it a continent, it's also a country. One of the largest islands in the world.
Or Australia?
I'm just kidding. So he goes to Australia to direct a stage play that he's written called Tot Mom, that is about the Casey Anthony case. Made mostly sort of cut and paste verbatim exchanges from the Nancy Grace show, featuring Essie Davis of Babadook fame, and I believe Matrix Zion Council fame. She's next to Cornel West. As Nancy Grace, as a projected giant face on the screen interacting with people on the stage. And during this, he's apparently separated from his wife Jules Asner while he is in Australia. And he is, in February of 2011, he is slapped with a paternity suit in New York by an Australian woman named Frances Lawrencina Anderson, who says that he is the father of her 5-month-old daughter. She says that in the suit, she says that she and Soderbergh had, quote, sexual intercourse on many occasions covering all possible dates of conception, and as a result thereof, she became pregnant. She said he acknowledged that he is the father of the child verbally and by offering to pay various medical and other expenses incurred by Anderson in relation to the pregnancy. Apparently he told
Jules
Asner, and they are still together and worked it out. The child is a daughter named Pearl Button Anderson, and it's fine. You can name your kid whatever you want. Pearl Anderson is cute. That's fine. Yeah. But naming her Pearl Button.
Sort of an Apple Martin situation.
Yeah, exactly. It's like naming your kid Mark, but then his middle name is like The Square.
Moon Unit Zappa.
Well, no, hold on. Moon is not a normal name.
All right. That's fair enough.
So, yeah, and she apparently filed the suit in New York.
And you're mentioning all this because this is something that Soderbergh produced in the time between he was making.
Well, he's so darn busy. He got busy, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true.
And then also, and this is an important thing that we need to do. Okay. I think we've talked about this before. But while he is in Australia with the cast of Tot Mom, he makes a short film called The Last Time I Saw Michael Gregg.
This is one of our white whales.
Now, you can apparently only see The Last Time I Saw Michael Gregg if someone involved in the production, someone in the cast or Soderbergh, elects to show it to you.
Yep. And I believe, am I correct in also recalling that there's like a media blackout where you go and you watch it and you don't say anything about it to anybody to sort of honor the pact?
I believe so.
Or is it just coincidence that nobody has talked about it? Because there's very little information about this available.
There's a good chance that it's like boring or sucks or something. But
anybody who sees it says, yeah, there's no reason for it to talk about
yeah,
this.
like, you know. So let's say this. Celebrated Australian actors. Wayne Blair, Essie Davis, Zoe Caritas, Darren Gilshannon. Please let us see The Last Time I Saw Michael Gregg. Damon Harriman.
Yeah,
from J. Edgar, from Justified, from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, from Red Belt.
Charles Manson.
Please let us see The Last Time I Saw Michael Gregg.
Particularly if he wants to invite us to go see it, I would be really excited.
Steven Soderbergh, I assume you're allowed. Please let us see The Last Time I Saw Michael Gregg. We will talk about it or not talk about it, whatever you want us to do.
We'll record like 30 seconds of silence in which we both think about the movie.
We'll do a 433.
Yes. Exactly.
Of Last Time I Saw Michael Gregg. Did you guys see the thing about there was like a Columbia music professor who...
I did see this.
Who's a real...
Talking about how Palestinian protesters... this sucked.
Yeah, he was saying Palestinian protesters...
433 demonstration.
Which totally missing the...
Yeah.
Basically disqualifying himself from being a professor is like qualified to talk about
the John Cage piece, if for folks who don't know, the John Cage piece, 4 minutes and 33 seconds is... the orchestra sits in silence for 4 minutes and 33 seconds, and the piece itself is... the ambient, whatever is happening.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
the
if a guy coughs, or if someone is chanting "Free Palestine," that is the context. It's to remind you that music exists and
like the world is happening. Yeah.
You think and I honestly, I think that Columbia professor thinks he fell out of a coconut tree.
I once played a piano that John Cage dropped a bunch of nails into.
Whoa. Oh, cool. Prepared piano.
Yeah, but they have that at a Cornish University in Seattle.
Oh, that's like a regular university, but much smaller.
Yeah. Reggie Watts went there, so there you go.
Oh yeah.
I didn't go there, but
okay. Well, you went there once.
That's my favorite. My favorite Reggie Watts song. That's enough. We're talking about Haywire today, released January 20th, 2012, written by Lem Dobbs, our old pal from Kafka, from The Limey. Anton Lemuel Kitaj. Didn't have to look that up again. Stuck in the old noodle. Interesting.
It's a beautiful
name of guy.
Kind of a C.S. Lewis cellar door. Is that Tolkien? Who was the beautiful phrases of English? You know this?
Yeah, wasn't it? It wasn't Hemingway?
No.
C.S. Lewis?
Hemingway was Airplane Door.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? He was the guy with the shoes that died.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, maybe things are different in the mid 20th century, but a lot of babies get stuff bought for them that they don't wear. And it's just, it's not sad necessarily. It's sad. It's like wasteful.
Sure.
Wow. You're doing like an atheist defeats Hemingway story. Okay.
So Ryan, what's your relationship to Steven Soderbergh and to this film?
With this film, it is a very recent relationship, but I had never even heard of it before you called me and you tapped me.
Is that true?
It's true.
Canceled.
I know. I'm sorry.
Canceled. Episode over.
No, I mean, Steven Soderbergh is a cool guy. I think as somebody who spent a lot of time studying Alan Rudolph, his work, I think it's interesting that he was one of maybe a lot of people. I don't know. It's hard to say with his sort of low profile, but being inspired by him, even using his cinematographer.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what I like about him is what I like about Alan Rudolph as well. Is they almost feel like they're kind of geared towards like the future of movies, like
very much,
like this current situation that we're in, like just by happenstance, kind of doing things the way they want to do with like modest budgets and quick production, but always seeming to like get a really good cast and doing it in a kind of interesting artsy way. He's like if Alan Rudolph like broke into the mainstream to me, like
right.
And you guys got me on the bubble pill, which I thought was a fascinating watch. And
bubble pilled him.
Ian, I think we talked about, because Ian and I have actually hung out in real life.
That's true. It's fucked. We had an encounter.
We went to Scarecrow Video here in Seattle. I'm dropping a lot of Seattle businesses.
I think it's cool.
But, that's fine.
With the Kimmy connection, but I think we talked about Full Frontal at Scarecrow, and I was like, Nicky Cat as Hitler in this is a fascinating watch. So
it's so cool and weird.
Yeah.
We're some of the warriors for Full Frontal now. Yeah. We love Full Frontal.
That's what I've been hearing. Yeah.
Hitler Fortnite skin win.
Same time as when we get the Three Stooges in Fortnite, which is got to be forthcoming, right?
Cool. Yeah.
Forthcoming.
Yep. Fourth night.
But yeah, I need to catch up more on his recent stuff. I mean, obviously Oceans and The Limey I love. No Sudden Move I really liked. Like that was a recent one that I thought was cool, but
yeah,
I still haven't seen Kimmy. I still haven't seen like Presence or like Black Bag, but I'm hearing good things. And as someone who fancies themselves a bit of an editor, I like that a lot of the time I'm like, oh, this is like, I did this on my MacBook, like in the car. Like,
yeah, it's extremely, he's really in his MacBook era. The titles.
Yeah,
in
the
this.
on screen, just like italic Helvetica, like light font. Yeah. It's
yeah. I was thinking, this reminded me of, this is another one for the Paper Mario fan in the audience, but
get ready.
When I first got an Xbox 360, we didn't have an HD TV yet. And so I borrowed my friend's copy of Dead Rising, that zombie game.
Yep.
Good game.
Wait, was that Xbox or was that PlayStation 3?
That was Xbox 360. Okay. I think it was like exclusive.
Yeah, and it, I think maybe to show off the HD of it all, the on-screen text was so small that it was unreadable on a 720p television.
Yeah, the resolution was too high.
So fine. And I feel like Soderbergh is in his Xbox 360 shit on this movie. And also the light bloom through the windows.
Yeah.
That's why it's funny that you haven't seen Black Bag, because this is the perfect warm-up. Now going post Black Bag, he's the Black Pro Mist, like super diffusion filter stuff. Yeah. I hadn't clocked it the first time I saw this when it came out, but it's big here.
And a lot of pea yellow as well.
Yep.
My man loves.
I gotta check in on your pee, man. Give me a pee update, because that's not where you want to be. There's just like a real amber to the pee.
Just like PTM, not necessarily my pee.
Okay.
Oh, pee. Yeah. We're gonna talk about
the classic depiction of pee.
We're gonna talk about PMCs later. Private military
We're gonna be talking about PMCs.
Well,
guys named Aaron.
You're a bit of a PMC. Yep. Some of the worst Aarons in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. From Hit Factory.
Yeah. Aaron Manutza.
He's our number one enemy.
It's a Greek name.
Doesn't sound like it.
He played the cop in Begonia.
Yep. Well, thank you, Ryan. Here's our quick zeitgeist check-in that we do sometimes just to situate us. Now, it's an interesting zeitgeist because the film is produced in a different zeitgeist than its release. The time ghost has moved on. That's what that means in German.
Yep.
But when the film is released, the global population has recently been declared at 7 billion people. October 31st, 2011. The UN just decides arbitrarily because this is scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. The U.S. declares a formal end to the Iraq War. Ha ha ha. Very funny.
Yeah.
Boots on the ground. I remember that.
Apple bottom jeans. Kim Jong-il dies and is succeeded by Kim Jong-un.
Really nasty discourse if you weren't there. Just unabashed racism about people from East Asia.
Yeah,
that was
just
what was going on. Yeah.
And then Minecraft is released.
Whoa.
Important to note. So, this is the film Haywire. Ian, had you seen this before?
Yeah, I saw it when it came out. I was all in on Soderbergh at this point. I'd already seen the Out of Sights and the Limeys, and I was all in on Fassbender. Probably two into it. I was a big hunger head, big shame guy.
I knew about that one.
Hunger and shame.
Big shame guy, huh? Big shame guy here too. I think a lot of podcasters.
Yeah. So my experience was actually that I was anticipating a different movie, and I walked out pretty disappointed, which I've changed my mind about. I'll tell you guys right now, I've come around on this film quite a bit. I was also doing Muay Thai at this time, so I was really I had triangulated everything that I wanted to see, and I still was expecting something different than what I got. I think in part, you've mentioned the editing. The rhythm of the film is like, I think maybe the hardest that Soderbergh has pushed it of any of the films we've seen so far. And I think that alienated me, even though I was already sort of up on strange stuff. I was also big on La Samurai at this time. So I was, I thought I was prepared and I wasn't prepared. But I think I'm finally ready. This is maybe my biggest transformation of any Soderbergh film that we've talked about so far.
When you say you were doing Muay Thai at the time, that's when people would ask you what kind of restaurants you'd like to see in Oaxaca.
Yes, that's right. I want very Thai restaurants. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you do, though.
I do want to see very Thai restaurants.
Yeah, exactly.
How about you, Jake? Had you seen this film before?
I had seen the film. I didn't really remember... My only memory of it, of my impression of it, was like, oh, there's a lot of guys in this. There's a lot of like, and also I knew of the kind of stunt casting, the famous stunt casting of
We're Making It Real,
Gina Carano, and the digital voice alteration. And I remember, I think, being a little bit disappointed that it wasn't like 100% MMA the whole time. Like
I think that was. I wanted it to be like a Fassbender acting showcase and then a big fight frenzy. It's not really either of those things.
And it's got some good fights in it, but there's not that many of them. And I hadn't revisited it in over a decade probably until I watched it again recently to prepare for this episode, and I found myself very challenged to separate the Gina Carano from the film, and also I found myself repulsed by a lot of the aesthetics of the film, specifically the costuming and as it pertains to, or as the costuming, which is also in line with the, I think, aesthetic bankruptcy of MMA generally.
Yeah,
which I would like to talk about. The fucking shorts, dude. But then.
The hats. Build beanies. She's got a closet full of
He used to be mayor of New York.
Yeah.
And I wrote this down. So the film was originally titled Knockout. It was originally announced as Knockout, which is, it's like a fighting thing and also like a pretty lady thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they changed it to Haywire, but the original title was longer. It was Hey, why are you wearing that fucking hat?
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
But revisiting it, I do think that there is something at work here with Soderbergh's distancing aesthetic, his mid shots, which are like at once a directorial decision to shoot the action from like with the whole bodies in frame.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's also maybe something to say about the state of intelligence and security services in the United States in the world at this time.
I think there's lots to say, definitely.
But also, like, everyone looks fucking horrible. I mean, they made Ewan McGregor look so bad in this, which is impressive. He's a very handsome man.
That is so true. But I mean, he looks like a guy who has spent a lot of money to make himself look good and looks really bad, which I think is like the Eric Prince or PMC special. Like these people are very wealthy and totally devoid of any aesthetic awareness. So there's just nothing they can do. You just can't overcome that.
So I have a little bit about about the origin of the film. May I share it with you? Would you like to hear that?
I would love that.
Okay.
Permission.
Do I have permission to release a famous thing we say on the show a lot? So it basically like originates with Carano. He's got this idea to make he wants to do a Bondy kind of thing. He's the production of the Ocean's movies is like often centered around when Matt Damon is not doing a Bourne movie, so he's very aware of those. I believe one shot in Ocean's 12 or 13 was literally filmed like in London because Damon was in London for Bourne. So he's said later that he's been approached twice to direct a Bond movie.
Interesting.
Which is interesting. He's gonna do the new Amazon one starring like Joe Keery or whatever is James Bond, starring Tilly Norwood as. But apparently he was literally watching TV. He says he told Vulture, it was more through channel surfing that I even saw these MMA fights. It was so random. I landed on one of those fights that CBS was running, the Saturday Night Fights, and she's beating the shit out of some woman. And then they were talking to her afterwards, and she was so striking, and I thought it was unusual, that combination of elements. Then in June 2009, when Moneyball fell apart, I thought I should track her down and see if she was interested in acting. She had just lost her last fight, so it seemed like a good time for both of us. I wanted to build something around her, and I was looking to do something immediately to get my head clear. I wanted to do a spy movie, like a throwback to the 60s, and I thought, instead of a guy, why not her? So he wants to do, he cites movies like The Ipcris File, the Harry Palmer, Michael Caine, like less suave,
less stylish, less, a
little, like halfway to John le Carre.
Yeah, but not quite as cerebral.
John le Carano.
That's right.
I got a little bit of like 3 Days of the Condor, even like kind of that, like they're coming after me type thing. Like
a little bit of paranoid 70s thriller. Yeah, definitely. But also, we've already brought up the editing, but it's so distilled. It's a weird combination because you mentioned the desire for a sort of like MMA stunt casting authenticity, and that was a big piece of it. And he had these sort of rules, right? He had these rules of like, we're going to keep all the bodies in frame. We're not going to do the quick cuts of something like a Bourne. Right. We're going to try to like make the visual and spatial geography really comprehensible so that people know what's happening in the fight at all times.
Yeah, it feels like Hong Kong action rules, like the kind of 1, 2, 3 cause and effect editing, right?
Right.
Exactly. But then also combined with the extreme elliptical narrative editing where you're sort of like so alienated from the characters or like what's happening to these people or why we care about this stuff. And so it's an unusual mix.
And like a lot of Hong Kong action stars, she's real authoritarian now.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Carano real quick?
Yep.
So she's she's like the hook of this movie.
Right.
Hey,
hook.
That's a type of punching. Yeah.
Yeah.
She is an MMA fighter. She's a Muay Thai specialist. And I was watching a video about sort of her career. She doesn't do a lot of fights. She's in like 8 fights and then becomes an actress, basically. Mm-hmm. And she, I think it was one of those rapists who runs the UFC, I forget which one, who was talking about her and saying that a lot of fighters come from dirt poor, fighting on the streets.
Could not be farther from that.
Yeah, and he says she's a born fighter, meaning she is a rich kid who just really loves beating up the poor people who usually end up in...
She's from Las Vegas.
She's from a casino mega family.
Yeah, her father was a former pro football player, Glenn Carano, who then became a casino executive and literally, like, at one point was owned... He was the general manager of El Dorado Resorts, which owned Circus and then like merged with the company that owns Caesars.
Yeah.
So she was literally like the daughter of the guy who decided what fight was going to get put on. So there's a little bit of a...
Ace Rothstein was her dad.
Yeah, exactly.
He's putting on a show.
Yeah. So she was like, and she had one of those things where like her parents divorced, and so she grew up with her mom, and her dad is the rich guy. But like, I don't know what the how Freudian we want to get in here. But anyway, she's like, she comes from enormous privilege and basically like Nevada state royalty. But she is apparently pretty good at Muay Thai. Ian, I don't know if you can speak to her prowess. Does she come across to you as a good fighter?
Oh, you mean on screen in Haywire? Yeah,
no, I mean in the octagon.
Yeah, I mean, I think she is good, although I think she was fighting in sort of like some of the bigger fights of women's MMA at the time, which was still significantly less well-funded and less well-promoted than men's MMA. It's gotten better.
She got out before UFC had women on the...
Before the Ronda Rousey era and stuff. This is like...
Strike Force.
So, exactly. Yeah. She was fighting for Elite XC and Strike Force, which... It's just kind of harder to gauge, like, globally what that means.
Right.
But I think she had a good record.
But I think from the beginning, and it's hard. There's like a number of elements here where, like, I don't want to be a misogynist or repeat misogynist tropes specifically.
Yep.
But also, she's a piece of shit.
Right.
So, like, I don't. It's a hard needle to thread. But basically, there was a lot of talk about how she looks pretty, and so like she's a good poster child for women's MMA because of this. Obviously, this is Soderbergh thinks this woman looks like she could be in a movie, but also she does the punching and kicking. And my famous podcast girlfriend said, quote, "When I didn't know that she was bad, I felt guilty thinking she was ugly." And that's a woman who said that. So I'm just quoting her directly.
Okay.
And she also famously like had a bit of a challenge making weight for her fights, which happens. But I mean, that's something I have a challenge with as well. And I don't even have to make weight.
Yeah. And she's better at fighting than you.
And she's she at least was very, very good at fighting. She hasn't done it in a long time. And you know what? Gina Carano.
I was going to say, you're saying that you think you might have a chance here.
Look, it'd be good for the show.
Oh, yeah.
Gina
really
Carano,
good for the show.
Anytime, any place.
Yep.
Any holds barred or none, no weapons if that's okay with you. And I will wear the hat.
About any arms barred,
now this guy knows about MMA.
Ryan, are you an MMA guy?
I when I was like 13, 14, I really liked the UFC. I really liked. Yeah. I watched the fucking Frank Mir, Brock Lesnar UFC 100. I mean, by the time they got Lesnar in there, it was kind of a joke, right? Like they're like, "Oh, now we're just doing like WWE guys." Like,
were you ever a wrestling guy?
No, thank God.
Yeah, it's so weird to find out how many people were wrestling guys. I feel like that was a secret, and then all of a sudden, everyone
knew kids
came out
up that were wrestling guys.
It's like the Skrulls.
Yeah.
Ian, you were
like the Skrulls.
You were into MMA, like doing it, but were you a viewer of the fights?
Yeah, I mean, I would view it occasionally, and it is the kind of thing where once you're doing it, it's more enjoyable to watch because you're watching people who are really, really good at the thing you're trying to do. So it's not as much of like, oh, I want to see the sports narratives or whatever. I was never sort of like in on. I'm really interested to see like how far this person can make it, or
it was more
like
just
being
like
in somebody's camp.
These are the best practitioners of the thing I'm also practicing.
Right, and that is exciting to watch because you're thinking like it's either aspirational or it's so far that you just think like, wow, look at what can be achieved that I will never achieve.
Now, we haven't talked about the plot of the film, but it's time now for me to put this to you guys.
Okay.
UFC looks so fucking stupid, right? I mean, they're like, it doesn't.
You mean they're
no, all of it. The octagon is dumb. The clothes, the little jammies they're wearing, the little shorts are awful, or they wear big long shorts. Their shorts they're the wrong, like boxing had it figured out. Obviously the mixture of martial arts is like the point of it, but it makes them look like neither of them knows what they're doing.
Yeah, it can look sloppy sometimes, for sure.
It looks really sloppy. I was stuck in a pizza place once where they fucked my pizza up and they were making it again, and I was watching a lot of UFC because it took like 40 minutes for them to and I just was blown away. Like, this is what it looks like?
Well, it can look sloppy for the reasons you're saying, because sometimes one person's really good at striking and the other person's basically a grappler, and they're both like trying to do their thing and the other person's trying to not do their thing. So they're kind of like avoiding each other, which isn't super fun to watch. But I mean, sometimes you're watching true monsters. I mean, the people, I think, I don't even want to say them by name, but I think probably the greatest MMA fighter of all time is like a multiple assailant, a very bad person.
Sure.
They're good at fighting each other. Some of this, I mean, I guess maybe it depends on how much you can appreciate. It's like, oh, this, he's really good at finding angles for jabs, and he's also really good at passing somebody's guard or whatever.
Yeah, I guess maybe I just I mean, I don't watch a ton of boxing.
Yeah.
But I do feel like maybe putting the restrictions on it makes it more exciting to me. Putting the,
Yeah, I think that is an argument for it. Yeah.
And then like whatever, the late 90s when the UFC was popping off, like for the first time, like, I mean, the whole thing is like the ultimate fighting, right? It is a little bit of spectacle, and that's probably
it's very XFL.
That's the Dana White
thing,
obviously.
Yeah, the touch,
and now we have the gambling element
sort
too,
of like,
so it's even better.
yeah.
Right.
But it's like tied up in reality TV a bit, and
literally, like there were Gina Carano was on one of the reality TV shows that like got it. She was on the Oxygen reality series Fight Girls, which is one of the things that got her.
Lady Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, and then she was on the American Gladiators reboot as Crush because. Cool. She's cute, but also she'll fucking crush you.
Knockout. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
everybody going to the same
Haywire,
well.
wearing that hat. Okay, so I'm on the record as thinking that everything about the aesthetic value of...
I think it's fine to say. And I think there's a strong argument that blood sports shouldn't exist, although, there's the tricky balance where if capitalism is going to put your body through a nasty machine that tears you up, at least maybe these people are kind of making a choice about which version of that.
Sure. But I do like the one where the guys put all the medieval armor on. Because that's also like sort of living history. That's educational. See what it would look like. Speaking of striking, let's talk about what happens in the film. Ian, would you like to give us a quick rundown? Not really a plot-heavy film, ultimately.
No. Well, yeah, I think, which we can talk about whether we think that's a virtue or a failing of the movie.
Yeah.
But, okay, so basically we jump in with this private military contractor who is like between missions. We don't get a lot of information. The first thing we see, I believe, is the diner scene where she enters this diner. We don't really know what the deal is. She's meeting with somebody, but Channing Tatum shows up, which is not who she was expecting. And then they have a very brief conversation without much detail. This is all sort of like minimalistic, somewhat realistic. And then it immediately devolves into a fight where Channing Tatum's character tries to kill her. And she's, in the fashion of the film, has some cool fighting moves, but also is doing kind of like an improvised, using whatever's at hand, smashing coffee pots, which I think is also kind of a Hong Kong choice. Yep. That's right.
Venom.
And then she escapes and she brings along this customer who's like a little dork. This is, what's his name? Michael Angarano.
Yeah.
Scott.
Or in this case, Michael
exactly.
and Carano.
That's a really interesting point. So the rest of the film, or a big chunk of the film, is her recounting to him what has unfolded and like what has led her to this point. So we flash back briefly to her name's Mallory. And so we flash back to planning an operation in Barcelona. Kenneth, the Ewan McGregor character, who is her boss and also her former boyfriend or whatever, is making deals with the CIA to set up this op, and we don't have a lot of information about it.
The CIA guy is Michael Douglas.
Yes, Michael Douglas, and he seems to be a fan of Mallory's work. He's sort of insisting that she be involved in this operation. So then we're in Barcelona. Again, we're given very little context, but we see Mallory meet Channing Tatum's character, Aaron, I think is his name.
Yes.
They start to plan this thing where they're going to extract a guy who's being held hostage. And so they're monitoring the house. And then we see the operation also with pretty heavy cutting where there's like jazz and it's cool, but not cool in the sort of exciting Bond-born way where there's, suspense about what's going to happen. Yeah. It's all kind of toned down.
It's weird. It's like a middle point between like Ocean's 12 and Contagion.
Yes. Yeah. There's Ocean's like coolness in the sense of cool jazz, but it's also kind of defying all the things that would normally make an action scene exciting, where there's not like suspense about what's going to occur because there's so much heavy editing. So then they get away semi-successfully and deliver this guy to Antonio Banderas' character, Rodrigo, who's like the Spanish contact. So then Mallory's back in the U.S. and she wants to relax. Seems like she's maybe kind of on the way out of this operation because she thinks Kenneth's a loser. She has better options elsewhere. She really just wants to be home, but he insists that she go to this super short operation in Dublin where she's going to meet up with this MI6 agent, Michael Fassbender's character, Paul. And they just have to do, I think he tells her it's going to be like 1 or 2 days or something.
Too easy of a job.
Exactly. That's correct. And so they meet and there's sort of a weird tension that it's unclear. Is this like romantic? Are they don't trust each other? What's the deal? They go to this fancy house near Dublin. And while there, Mallory realizes that Paul is up to some shady behavior. She follows him around and sees that the person that they had just rescued in Barcelona is there and he's dead. And he's clutching this piece of jewelry that she had been given as like a signal to meet up with Paul.
Did you,
so
like
this is
me,
incriminating.
Get scared about whether it's called a brooch or a brooch?
I did.
Is that why you paused and scratched your neck? Yeah.
Correct.
ultimate body language reader.
Sometimes
Piece of
it's
jewelry.
you're NLPing me. That is correct.
I mean,
I don't know how to
I
broach
still don't know.
the subject for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, there's a shiny piece of metal that she was wearing.
She's a crow. She's
It's sort of like a clothing
She's a little
earring.
magpie.
It's a clothes earring.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. So she realizes everything's fucked up and that her boss has betrayed her and that she's going to have to fight Paul. They go.
Called
they
the
have
Dublin
the big,
Cross.
It's a Dublin Cross. They fight. She kills Paul. She escapes.
I think sort of the
and
famous fight of the movie, right? The hotel room
This
fight.
is
a
the
good fight.
famous fight. It's very good. I mean, what do we want to pause and talk about the fight?
Well, I do
What
want
do
to
you-
say, this is from Soderbergh. I asked Fassbender when I sent him the script, are you going to have a problem hitting a woman in the face as hard as you can? And he laughed and said, I don't think so.
Now, it's some important context for Michael Fassbender that he has allegations against him, or he was a suit was brought against him by a
Restraining
former
order
partner.
by a former
Yeah.
partner filed in March 2010. Also sought $24,000 to pay for medical bills that were the result of injuries she says she suffered after Fassbender abused her on multiple occasions. So,
oh no.
Yeah, I was thinking about this during the film.
look, I mean, Fassbender's whole appeal is that he is handsome and also looks like
Scary
a
and
shark.
charming.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's like a freaky. He's I'm surprised he hasn't played a vampire.
Yeah. I thought of
Maybe he's scared of
Fincher at times watching this movie, and the killer obviously it's kind of taking advantage of his.
Soderbergh apparently helped edit that movie as well.
Yes,
weighed in
I
on the
heard that,
editing.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this scene is the big scene. This is where Carano gets to show off the most of her MMA chops. They're hitting each other. They're wrestling around. She gets to do a bunch of front kicks that are cool. I think they look good on screen.
Yeah, they do.
She's
She
got like a
pushes him
signature
through a
move
door.
in this where somebody like grabs her from behind and she slams them like backwards into the wall. I think she does
Yeah.
it like 5 times
Yes, yeah.
throughout the movie.
My favorite thing she does in the movie is in the chase when they're extracting Jang.
Yeah, bad guy number 1.
Yeah, where
Right.
she chases him into that hallway and puts her legs up on the wall.
Yeah.
And then like slams the like
Garage
sliding
door, yeah.
garage door thing on his chest. And then that doesn't happen again in the movie, which like she doesn't go up on the
having
wall.
that kind of like beginning, middle, and end to the fight. That kind of mini structure.
Right. And she is, I mean, that up on the wall thing is like an octagon-y, like using the, edge to sort of get momentum and stuff. That is something people do. But the fight looks good. It is, the things they were taking pride in, like not having a female fighter do anything that she wouldn't be capable of, right? So sort of like if she's hitting somebody like she would hit somebody in real life. If she's being hit, it's supposed to look like it really hurts, and she's supposed to be getting weaker. This is like predating John Wick or this like next wave of semi-real fighting.
Atomic Blonde,
exactly.
Now, that's supposed to be an atomic joke.
Yeah. Yes.
Does that work for you guys?
No,
I never
sound
picked
that
up on
much
that.
like it.
Yeah, I was going to say. Stupid. Anyway, that movie has an extended stalker sequence. Like, she fights a Russian guy behind a movie screen that's the stalker is being
now I understand
projected onto. Yeah.
The part where it's in color. Yeah. Okay. So that scene happens. She's escaping through Dublin. She does a bunch of sort of kind of cool espionage, parkour, post Casino Royale stuff to get away.
That work for you as a parkour guy? This is where she's wearing the fuck ass hat.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend said...
That is really bad.
My girlfriend said this is the most conspicuous little outfit I've ever seen.
Well, then she switches to a disguise but keeps the hat on.
Yeah, that's also really crazy.
But we haven't, even if we just seen that like her head was bleeding or something, it would make a little more sense.
And she was wearing a different colored version of this same hat earlier.
Yes.
And she wears them in real life. She wears them in interviews. This is like a
I believe her
Carano
Wikipedia page is like a variation of this hat.
Yeah, she loves the hat.
The hats are insanely bad.
There's
but she does put on like a really ugly sweatshirt as her disguise, which I did kind of buy.
We got to talk about it because obviously, Soderbergh likes to cast. He likes to do this non-traditional casting thing where it starts in Traffic where he's got Orrin Hatch playing himself for a bit or whatever. And then Bubble, obviously, with the non-professional actors, the girlfriend experience. A lot of people called this movie like the bad ex-girlfriend experience. A lot of reviews have this.
Well, there's some sort of like rhythmic and acting choices that I think do recall. I think that's part of why I appreciated it better, because
Sure.
I got the language of
Me
the
too.
girlfriend experience, and I was like, okay.
But then, he's casting Channing Tatum and Ewan McGregor and Fassbender they have to just learn the fights. And like Michael Angarano, even before this, had been in that Jackie Chan Jet Li movie, The Forbidden Kingdom, where he was trained by Yen Wu Ping.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if there's is there a weird sort of double secret misogyny to Soderbergh just not even thinking whatever fucking Reese Witherspoon could learn these moves if someone trained her? Like, Tatum looks like he's tackling somebody, no problem,
Yeah, although, he is a trained dancer, and I think
Sure.
there's some, famous crossover.
They train women to
skills.
dance as well.
Yeah, you're right. Look, I do see where you're coming from, and weirdly, the choice that seems to be made, whether it's girlfriend experience style, trying to indicate the flatness and the disconnectedness of all these people, but everybody seems to kind of adopt the same neutrality in their way of speaking, which we've seen Gina Carano and other stuff. If we're being mean about her, we know that this is, that's the only gear that she's capable of, and may have been part of why she was redubbed by a computer and a human being afterwards. So
yeah, imagine Laura San Giacomo doing this stuff. Imagine
cool.
her if she had, imagine Enrico Colantoni in a wig.
Just shoot me is what they would say.
That's really good.
They were done with her.
That's really good.
She was done with them.
I saw Brian Posehn on the street in Burbank.
Did you say hi?
Not to brag, no. He was with his child.
I'm wearing a
that's
Mr.
good.
Show shirt right now. So.
Hey, there he
it's
is.
true. Yeah.
I'm wearing a Mr. Shirt show.
The Nobody, right? There's one. I never saw that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like
I saw Nobody.
And it is in this same,
okay.
It's in the continuum of this. Yeah.
Yeah. So
the rest of it is her trying to extract herself and get revenge and kill Aaron and Kenneth, and maybe Aaron turns out to realize that maybe the complex of private military contractors isn't to be trusted.
Yeah.
The thing he was involved in isn't all good.
There's a little bit of video gamey kind of going from boss to boss structure here, which is interesting.
That was a note Lydia, my wife, made on this movie. She said it felt like a video game.
Yeah.
And she also said Antonio Banderas was leaning into Puss in Boots for his voice. She was like, if you close your eyes and listen to him, he's just...
I thought he sounded more Nasonex than Puss in Boots, but I don't know if he even knows those are two different guys.
Yeah.
The cat has allergies. It's ironic. So... that's the plot basically. There's not a ton of plot to
her
it.
dad, Bill Paxton is her dad, and
he's like a Tom Clancy guy. That's why
he's a Tom Clancy guy, and this casting really works for me. When I think it's one of those things where maybe he didn't get the flat affect memo, and he's like being a human being on screen, which is maybe distracting, but he is kind of the ultimate Tom Clancy writer dad. So this is good.
Remember the part in True Lies where Bill Paxton says, "I got a little dick, it's pathetic."
Yeah, I do remember that.
I never felt more represented in a movie. I saw that.
Yeah.
I don't think your little dick's pathetic at all.
Oh, thank you. It's impressive.
It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, without the context, it would look... What if it was like a perfect homunculus, just like a shrunk down normal dick? All dicks are normal, by the way. That's the opinion of this podcast. Some of them are obviously better than others, but they're all normal. And some of them have been badly burned, but we'll talk about that on our Magic Mike episode. My favorite Channing Tatum fact.
Yeah, it's a really, really good fact.
There's a piece of casting we should talk about. Studer, which is, of course, when a guy named Stu drives an Ooter. But did you guys note who that was?
Oh, yes. Latin.
Amelie's boyfriend.
Yeah.
It was Amelie's boyfriend.
The guy that directed Vincent Castle.
Yeah, the guy who directed Vincent Castle
and
La Haine.
Yes, that's a great
Ocean's 12 and 13 star. Vincent Castle.
The Night Fox.
The Shroud himself.
Ocean's 12, bit of stunt casting in that too, where you have Julia Roberts as Julia Roberts.
Yeah, that's a great point.
You're right. So look, let's talk about PMCs. I think maybe we'll start. I have a little general PMC stuff, and then Ian, maybe you can tell us about a specific PMC who was involved in the. Okay, so
be happy to.
Private military contractors. They used to be called mercenaries. We used to just call them mercenaries.
Yeah.
which are, I believe, outlawed under several conventions that the U.S. doesn't is not like a signatory to. But they changed the name anyway. So these are, you've heard about these guys. You've heard of Blackwater. This is the use of force to defend and expand capital brought to its logical conclusion, which is profiting from using the force to defend the force as a profit, right? So Blackwater is the most famous one because of the 2007 Nisour Square massacre in Baghdad, where 4 Blackwater employees opened fire on Iraqi civilians, killing 17 of them and injuring 20, including children. And then 4 guys were convicted. Trump recently pardoned those guys, by the way.
Yep.
And the name Blackwater comes from a description of the area around their enormous training facility in North Carolina, which is literally called, the region is literally called the Great Dismal Swamp.
Oh, that's
now
cool,
I haven't played like Dark Souls or whatever, but that's what they call stuff in those.
Elden Ring.
Yeah. And so after that conviction, Blackwater did what the cable company does every few years when enough people get angry at them. They just change their name.
It's rebrand.
So they were called like XE, and then they were called like Academy, and then now they're called Constellus. But they also have it's diversified and expanded into other stuff. There's the aviation one. There's the one that makes armored personnel carriers or whatever. We're now seeing the use of PMCs as ICE kidnappers and like skip tracers, bounty hunters. There's also, I recently read an article about how the Trump administration wants to bring back privateering. They want to bring back piracy, guys working for the state to have their own private boats that they use to kill dudes off the coast of South America because they might have drugs on their boat. And look, first of all, boat, one of the best places to do drugs.
Speedboat.
Yeah. That's why they call it a speedboat. Yeah. But the facility, the Blackwater facility, which they've changed the name of, it's now called like the U.S. training camp or whatever. They offer tactics and weapons training to both military and law enforcement agencies. This is the kind of the Cop City type thing. This is the Imperial Boomerang you've heard so much about. They don't just play old cartoons anymore. And there's an interesting parallel here to the privatization of every other institution in American life. In 1996, this is a funny quote. I'm having a fun time. Eric Prince, the founder of Blackwater, said, quote, "We are trying to do for the national security apparatus what FedEx did for the Postal Service."
Yeah. Replacing beloved institutions like the United States military with more efficient alternatives.
And then there's also the revolving door thing where like the guy who was in charge of Blackwater, which was contracted by the CIA, was the head of the CIA counterterrorism force on 9/11. One of the worst guys at his job of all time, or best, I guess, depending on how loose your change is. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the milieu we're in here. And I think it's, there's something to be said about how deliberately uncool and detached and like literally ugly with those long ass shirts that go down to your upper thigh for some reason that Carano's always wearing the little hats. Like there's an argument to be made that Soderbergh is uglying up spycraft to demystify and indicate how UFC, how Monster Energy drink tattoo it's all become.
And I do think the film is not flattering to PMCs. The film makes Kenneth seem like a piece of shit who is obviously pretending to be invested in some of this, but it's entirely a commercial interest. And he doesn't even treat the people in his own organization well. And the idea that he would care about the targets is absurd. It doesn't even enter into the calculation.
Right. I think Mallory's calling them Leos, which is a real thing people call law enforcement officers. That's like one of this is so fucking lame. This is the lamest goddamn shit you ever heard.
Like Kojima type thing. Right. Like LEOs. Like
except the way he does it is sort of like ironic and dorky, those dorky little sunglasses on purpose kind of a deal.
Right.
Here I think she's wearing the sunglasses because she thinks it's the coolest kind of sunglasses.
Right. Yeah.
And
I think even like visually, like the when you first jump to, I almost said Kenneth Branagh, Ewan McGregor.
I would like to do a Superman punch to Kenneth Branagh. I think the Superman punch looks stupid, by the way. The one you jump up in the air to do the punch. Stupid. But anyway, sorry.
Oh yeah, just like the nasty like yellow, like I don't even know how this like this filter he puts on like when Michael Douglas is on screen, or
he's getting really yellow. But
then you're at like Bill Paxton's house and it's very natural and like feels a little more like safe and trustworthy or something. I don't know.
There's a lot of like
giving clues like that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, there's a lot of color temperature work for like each place that they go to, where there is obviously continuity in some of the grading and stuff, but it does really feel like each place, like you're saying, right, has its own identity, has its own associations. So we're supposed to read these things differently.
Wants you to feel a specific way.
Exactly.
The house at the end, it's not literally the same house, but it did remind me of another film that's in this vein, which is The Accountant. The end of The Accountant, they end up in a big house of a very similar type, and everyone's gathered in the like split level living room with the big glass, the big windows, waiting for the operatives who are apparently surrounding.
I felt like a CinemaSins guy in that final house scene, because she puts on this like camouflage to hide inside the house,
and with the fucking cornrows.
Yeah,
it's
she's
so
got
bad.
like her solid snake.
Inside the extremely well lit house. Yeah,
she should have dressed as a bookcase.
Yeah. Hardwood, just like
a wine fridge,
non-functional fireplace.
Yep. What else? What else? Oh, filters on all the taps, so even the sink water is like Brita filtered.
A heat pump.
Yeah, heat pump. Some really expensive bad art. Okay, we're done.
All right.
So, I do think we're mentioning all these other movies before we get back to some of the PMC stuff. We're mentioning all these other movies. This movie is not thrilling in the way those films are, and I think that it is built into it. But we're talking about like a John Wick or an Atomic Blonde
or The Raid. These are all sort of trying to do a Hollywood version of The Raid. Are supposed to
get your adrenaline up and get you excited. Yeah. I don't think the movie is trying to do that. If it is, then it's doing a bad job. But to me, it's...
I don't know I'm not versed in the... First of all, I'm not versed.
You're versing me right now.
I'm not versed in the lineage of the direct-to-video, often UFC guys starring films that I think set the stage and established
like
a lot of
Universal Soldier type of...
Yeah, the Scott Adkins stuff. A lot of that's set the stage for John Wick, and like where a lot of the people who make those movies, or Extraction or something, are cutting their teeth. But that, I think, is happening at the same time as this, and is like another... Most of the people who are like, hey, Randy Couture, you should be in a movie. Most of the guys saying that are not Steven Soderbergh. They're like John Borman's cousin or whatever, who's gonna make a movie where he plays like, the last warrior, and it's about like a guy who comes home from the war to meet his German Shepherd, but the German Shepherd has killed his wife or what.
Yeah. So I do think that when it is leaving all of this stuff unexplained, when it is cutting to Michael Douglas, and first of all, we're not sure in the paranoid thriller way I think you were talking about, Ryan, we're not sure, is the CIA trustworthy in saying that they're going to kind of softly back Mallory in trying to bring down Kenneth? Or is that itself a play? Because then we see him meeting with Kenneth and, sort of gives us this sense that in the realistic way, they're using private military contractors to do work they don't want to do or don't want to be associated with, as we kind of talked about in the card counter, right? Like the Iraq stuff where they're bringing in like independent operators to torture people, and then they can sort of say, well, like, I don't know, we just, we told them to get information. Exactly.
Right.
But also... can sort of opportunistically wash their hands of it, and that makes us wonder, like, are they saying this is bad? Is there any kind of morality to this? Is it just totally self-serving?
The way Soderbergh talks about it, because he invokes Blackwater as like, he it's one of the interviews he gives talking about the movie. He's like, yeah, she's one of these Blackwater types. I think for him, and this is, I think, often how he thinks about the political context of his movies. It's like, it's one of those things that's happening right now. And like, movies should reflect the world right now, which that's great. That's one of the things we talked about with Clint a lot. 15, 17 and all that. For him, I think, she's Blackwater because that's what a spy would be right now, right? And by the way, check out our appearance on the Junk Filter podcast where we talked about the Has Fallen series, which tracks some of this
That's true.
Evolving zeitgeist. In uglying all this up, in having your, the equivalent of M and Felix Leiter or whatever talk about what's the phrase, essential element clauses and hazard bumps and stuff. He is making it like unappealing, but we still are rooting for Mallory, right? And we're still rooting for. There's a way that she's, she doesn't want the cops to get killed. Granted, it's 2011, so we didn't. Yeah. The white guys didn't know yet about how cops are bad.
But I mean, even look, if I can give it some credit, the cops don't come across as like extremely capable and sympathetic. They're
stupid.
They're stupid innocents who are dragged into this, but don't really understand the world that they're operating in. Right? There's like an essential naivete to them.
They're misogynists. They call her Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
and they get killed like pretty swiftly too. Like they pretty much stand no chance.
That part.
Yep.
How about when she reverses through the woods and her little getaway bit? Did you guys? I said I laughed out loud when
really
she just
silly.
like kind of turned and like so she's like in this narrow part of the woods and there's cars coming on either
right.
side
in the commandeered like Honda Civic or whatever.
Yes, yeah. They might be like a Mazda or something, but yeah, and I'm like, oh man, what's gonna happen, And then she just kind of like slowly like kind of turns down another path and like kind of like just gets away.
I mean, I did appreciate that. That kind of reminded me of, you see this in a lot of like Iraq War movies where the vehicular action of urban warfare is often in like a shitty old sedan, not going that fast.
Yeah, a Toyota truck.
Yeah, well,
Toyota
don't
trucks.
Speak ill of the Hilux, please.
No, never. The Desert Cruiser.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe you're right in even invoking the Honda Civic stuff, because it is a la the killer, the Fincher killer, where everything is filtered through like modern gig economy nonsense, right? He's like picking up stuff at Amazon lockers.
Yeah.
Like to have a chase now is to be in this guy's like shitty little car.
Just to beat somebody in traffic, basically.
Yeah.
But Ian, there was a guy who you'd think a movie like this, they might get a real guy to help consult on some of the stuff. Was there anybody like that?
They really did, and we've been talking about John Wick. This is the same guy who trained Keanu Reeves for his realism in that film. So this is a man named Aaron Cohen. Aaron Cohen has another connection to the podcast. Well, actually several, but we talked about nope, definitely, absolutely not. His father, Abbey Mann, was the screenwriter of Judgment at Nuremberg, which came up a lot on our Good German episode.
Interesting.
So, Aaron Cohen, to be clear, born in Quebec.
Yeah, given what he does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's why we'll
he found the film boring and didn't get to the end.
Yeah.
No, when we talked about Judgment at Nuremberg, we talked about, are these people processing this trauma in a healthy way, or are they ignoring the important parts? And I think just based on how his son's life played out, I think it's very clear which was the case, at least in this man's life. So, yeah, Aaron Cohen, born in Quebec, raised or went to high school in Beverly Hills, which is only important because what he does next is go to work on a kibbutz in Israel, and then
Beverly Hills, one of the great founts of evil in the world.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, this is true, like volunteer murder stuff, right? He had no reason to be here. He goes there, joins the IDF, very proudly is one of the only non-Sabra, as they say, like non-Israeli born people to end up in Israeli special forces. Specifically, there is this group that I'm going to butcher the Hebrew here, but it is Mista Arvim or something to that effect. And these are groups of Israeli intelligence special forces people who infiltrate, as they say, like local native Arab populations. Now, first of all, really giving away the game and saying like we're infiltrating the locals.
The local natives.
Right.
Yeah.
Specifically in the West Bank, right? Isn't that like where his unit operated?
Exactly, yeah. So this is the Duvdevan Unit, which is like a legendary for them unit. This is the unit that is kind of portrayed in the awful Hasbro propaganda series, Fauda. I'm not sure. Is that how it's pronounced?
The big Netflix series?
The Netflix Israeli series where guys pretend to be Arab, but they're secretly Israeli. So
wait, why did that come up? We talked about someone we have talked someone we have talked about like produced it or something, right? I'll figure it out while you're talking.
All right. So this unit, I mean, they've been caught doing a bunch of nasty stuff basically since their inception, basically since the inception of Israel as a nation. So in 1948, they were caught trying to poison Gazan wells with typhoid and diphtheria.
Yep. Because
those were the wells that Egyptian troops drew their water from. So just from its inception, entirely willing to accept massive civilian casualties to try to advance their military objectives.
And I think accept is the most generous way of describing that.
You're right. That is true. That's true. If not, seeing it as a very positive bonus.
It's a win-win.
They, I believe, killed a Al Jazeera journalist as of like just a couple of years ago. Like that's like, you know.
Yeah.
There's still likely things.
Are you talking about Shireen Abu Akleh?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
They sniped her while she was covering the Jenin refugee camp in 2022. So this is before, not even, with the excuse, if there is such a thing, of the modern Gaza war. So there's this doc called Who Killed Shireen, where they tracked down the exact guy who went around after the fact bragging about this. So this is not that much speculation.
Right.
After she was killed, they were putting up target practice posters of her head. And of course, in the moment when she was killed, Israel immediately came out and said the thing that they always say, which is, actually, I bet it was like these nasty guys did it to themselves. They said the Palestinian accidental friendly fire probably killed her. And then the autopsy revealed that this was like an extraordinarily intentional shot to her head.
And I believe she was, they also kill people, they killed mourners at her funeral or something like that?
That may well be true. I know that they broke up.
Look, I might be thinking of a different funeral where the idea of kill people carrying
I do. You're right that I think her funeral was like the site of them suppressing protests and stuff, but I'm not sure what happens. So this guy finishes his involvement over there in the 90s and then comes back to the United States, opens up one of these exact facilities that you're talking about, Jake, that both trains law enforcement, police, I think FBI, people go to train there in suppressive tactics. He's also running like an executive protection thing for people in Hollywood, which it seems like where he makes a lot of these connections.
Right. A lot of this, the PMCs, they do both like they will be contracted sort of Suicide Squad style as like quickly disavowed intelligence work, but then a big thing they do is they're like bodyguards, basically the protection for, especially like if you're an American energy executive who's going to the Middle East, or you are like they were literally Blackwater was employed as the private security force for Paul what's his nuts, who was the like viceroy of Iraq. What was that guy's name? I don't know. Whatever. You know what I mean? They're private security. They're literally bodyguards for rich people and for the wars of extraction that the U.S. is carrying out.
Yeah, and look, it's hard for me not to hold this against Stephen specifically, because this even pre this Gaza war, it's not like this stuff is a secret. And I think part of the nastiness of hiring these guys is that they're sort of bragging about the authenticity of their techniques, right? So it sort of like baked into this as saying, we have used this on real human beings.
Used this to kill a child.
In the world. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. I've used this to bomb bystanders or execute the wrong person in Norway. Speaking of Norway, check out something excluded from the film Munich, which is when that elite unit went and killed a Palestinian waiter who was working in Norway, who was just a guy. They just confused him for a leader, and they just killed this guy. And then they went and killed the real guy with a car bomb that killed a bunch of civilians. So this is the Lilyhammer affair, in case people want to read about it.
Military tactics, really.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah, not only are they not nearly as elite as they paint themselves to be, these are like dumb UFC guys, basically.
Yeah. Honestly, Norway as like a sort of theocratic, oil-rich nation should be careful.
Yeah.
Sure.
I feel like
they could be next.
They could be next, yeah.
And nobody will do anything about it if it happens. So.
Right, exactly.
That's right, yeah. So then, just as a bonus, Aaron Cohen, story doesn't end. He was back in the news just about a year ago because...
Why's that?
He was going on Fox to proudly say that he had infiltrated the pro-Palestine solidarity camps at UCLA. So this is, something we've talked about on the show before. He was infiltrating teenagers. This is
children
absolutely
beaten,
deranged behavior.
And the cops let it happen and then blame the teenagers.
Yeah, financed by the Seinfelds, right? Weren't they
Jessica
donating
Seinfeld.
large sums of money to these like counter protesters?
Yeah,
exactly. And he went on Fox News to say what I would say are kind of contradictory things, which is both like there was leadership in place. Like this, this is not a talk that is like this didn't come out of here. This is coordinated secret efforts, anti-Semitic efforts that are getting these camps started. And then
meanwhile,
also saying
I secretly coordinated the counter protest.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, I think, a classic case of, seeing yourself everywhere, your own bad behavior.
Right.
But then also trying to say that these are all spoiled rich kids, which I do want to remind people, this guy from Beverly Hills went to Israel for fun to kill people. So the idea that he would be trying to tell people like, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. You guys are first world college students.
I would like to digitally alter this guy's voice with the digits of my hands, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
Near his voice box.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, UCLA is also where I grew up in comfortable suburbs. UCLA was one of the first places that I had to realize that like other people who my peers might not be able to like buy groceries at the same store as me. I met poor people at UCLA. It's a public school.
And met people talking about Palestine in an eye-opening way.
That's the first place.
In 2014. Yeah, whatever.
Aaron Cohen, your own life. Ian, you can do with whatever you want with that audio.
It's our donkey of the day.
Yeah.
Big time donkey of the day.
No, I respect donkeys. He's the
you're right.
the doo-doo
You're
of the day.
There you go.
Yeah. To bring us back to the film, I forced myself to read part of this book called License to Kill by Robert Young. And I got to tell you guys, by Robert Young Pelton, excuse me. And these people are so nasty, man. I mean, if you check out this book, I think it is interesting to read with an extremely critical eye because he's writing like a Paul Theroux style travelogue. Aren't these people interesting? We were sitting in the Greek diner and he ordered eggs. And he's talking to some of the great monsters who are alive in the world right now. People who were in Vietnam and are choosing to go back into war zones because they miss being a part of the real shit or something. Mm-hmm. And he is kind of critical of them, but just to give you a sense of how uncritical he was, Eric Prince reached out to him to help ghostwrite his biography a few years later and to like fact check his book. So not that critical, but I think it's worth reading in the sense of if we're talking about demystifying and making it clear that these people are, they have no secret insights, when they condescend to you about being pragmatic, about having to make the hard choices, they are dumber than you in the sort of George Carlin, like if you meet an average person, you know what I'm saying? Like there's half the people in the world are dumber than that. They are dumber than you. Whoever you are, they're dumber than you. Yeah.
Even the listeners of the show. No, come on, we love you guys. I was reading about, the film context of this, of UFC and MMA becoming a presence, a segment of the entertainment industry. And one of the big breakthrough moments before this film was The Expendables, when alongside Stallone and Jet Li and Jason Statham and Schwarzenegger, who I don't know who's in the first one, whatever, is Randy Couture, who's who's a UFC guy. So sort of establishing him as like one of the Avengers of action. And Stallone and Aaron Cohen love each other and like they hang out, and he's worked on those movies, and there is like a distinct and inseparable connection between Ultimate Fighting and this particular type of soldier of fortune, professional murderer type of guy. So fuck that, I guess, is what I'm saying. Antonio Banderas worked with this guy again. Maybe is Banderas bad?
Yeah, that gives me bad dares.
Yeah,
he has bad dares.
He's giving me mucus as well. He's causing me to have mucus. Speaking of bad people, Gina Carano, huh? You know what? Before we get to that, let's talk about the voice alteration. Because another famous thing about this movie is that Gina Carano's speaking voice was altered digitally. Now, it's a combination of like pitch shifting and reconstructing, as Soderbergh says, combining 5 different readings in one sentence, and then famously having Laura San Giacomo overdub certain lines. You can really hear it at certain points, and then other times it doesn't.
There's a phone call at one point where it's very clear. It's weird. It's almost at the exact like halfway, like 40 minutes. I immediately picked up on really weird dialogue. Like there was one quote I wrote down. It was like they're driving in the woods, but he's like, "I just got this car a week ago," and she says, "Yeah, well," and that.
Yeah, you can really tell that it's like ADR by someone who wouldn't normally talk at that rate, maybe, or wouldn't have delivered the line the same way.
Yep.
The phone call stuff especially, and then when she asks Michael Angarano to tell some sex lies on videotape,
that was also. I mean, you're right to mention this, right? Because in addition to the dialogue weirdness on the voice level, most of the film, the dialogue is like entirely functional, which I think is an interesting decision if we're talking about something like Le Samurai, right? Sort of like there is no extraneous.
I was going to bring back
emotional
Melville as well, Le Cercle Rouge.
Yeah, but then you will have stuff that that Melville would never put in a film, like Angarano's character saying, "I was supposed to be sleeping in late today, not getting carjacked," which is like that's like an Ice Cube movie line or something.
Right,
I don't know what that is.
Right? Are we there yet? Yeah. I mean. It's strange. Soderbergh, I think he's being generous because he says like we wanted her to sound like Mallory Kane, not like Gina Carano, which this is a person who's never been in a movie before. So it's. But I think he's basically saying the performance was not up to par, and so we did what we could to salvage it.
It's a lot of off-screen dialogue for her, like where you're just holding on Scott in the backseat and you just hear her talking or phone stuff.
Right.
But it's, I mean, having seen like Madam Web, it's as seamless as possible in this film compared to something like that movie where it's just abundantly clear that like these words were never spoken in this room.
Match. Yeah. I mean, and I think, how do we compare? Have you seen The Girlfriend Experience, Ryan?
No, I have not.
Okay, well, what do you think, Jake? Because Sasha Grey, I mean, professional actor in some capacity, but not a film actor, not a Hollywood film actor.
Right.
But the flatness that she achieves, whether it's just the context of the film itself and her sort of like very slight mischievousness or like a sense of being in control, it's amazing how like very, very small shifts in tuning made it work really well there. And I would say it works pretty well here. I wouldn't say that it's not that it doesn't work at all for me in this film. Mm-hmm. Again, like I think it's part of the reason I liked it better is now I could sort of see that as like something Soderbergh's comfortable working with as a tool, right? Somebody who's not really emoting about anything that's happening to them. But even without the Girlfriend Experience context, what do you think, Ryan? How did you feel about this? I mean, what about something like compared to Melville?
Yeah, well, and I think actually when I liked this movie the most is when people weren't talking, like not even just Gina Carano, but almost like I sort of liked this kind of silent like movement that it had to it in the first half, or like out of context stuff like at the beginning in the diner where you're not privy to all the information. I like that kind of stuff. I like that kind of mystery element to it. So
trying to keep up.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't know, it's a little rough. It's not pretty, which I think also kind of goes back to the Melville, maybe like Le Cercle Rouge or something like that, where it's like kind of, these guys aren't clean. These guys are kind of ugly, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, something that jumped out to me, there's a piece by Adam Nayman in The Ringer from 2017, like a sort of a look back at the film, where Nayman points out the difference between MMA fighters getting into acting and wrestlers getting into acting, where he points out that one of the reasons that so many professional wrestlers have transitioned successfully into movies is that their job training involves learning to play to the camera while taking bumps.
Yeah.
Mixed martial arts involves less stagecraft. And obviously there's people like Muhammad Ali, you know, the most watchable, charismatic man ever to live, perhaps.
Right.
But that's, I think, unrelated to his, not necessarily part of his being a good puncher. It's part of his being like a star.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
and I think when I think of the other people that Soderbergh likes putting in movies, Jennifer Lopez, professional dancer, Channing Tatum, former dancer, obviously. Sasha Grey's job is about being looked at. And same with, like Andie MacDowell was a model and actress who was famously dubbed in that Tarzan movie, I think. But like he likes these people who are used to being like visual
the center
objects.
of attention in other ways.
Or just knowing what it is. Yeah, knowing what it means to be the center of attention and how to manipulate that. And Carano doesn't, and it seems like the appeal to him is much more bubble than girlfriend experience, where it's someone who's like, he talks about, I've had a great time working with non-actors because they can have a certain quality. They get to be themselves and they haven't been taught anything wrong. The worst kind of acting is results acting, and they have no sense of that at all, no sense of trying to get a result. They have this weird openness that's really interesting to me. You've got to be pretty careful with them, though. You've got to create an environment where they can be themselves. So he talks about this, and he'll talk about how much he loves, like, seeing Carano run at the camera and stuff, and how scary
I could tell
it was.
that Barcelona scene, that foot chase goes on for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about editing.
It made me think, like, I kind of like movie running better, I think. Like, Tom Cruise, the way Tom Cruise is running is fucking crazy, but it's cool on camera. And the way she's running is probably better for, like, actually getting somewhere, but I don't know if it's as cool.
Right.
Although that Barcelona scene is maybe the closest thing he gets, I thought, to like an exciting staging of a action sequence.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, there's a couple other, but we sort of see there's like it's unclear who is following her. So we're like cutting to pedestrians walking nearby and like a car that pulls out as she's walking. And it does, he talks about, we haven't really discussed the move from Lionsgate to Relativity as the distributor. Lionsgate in part wanted it to be like a conventional action movie, and he wanted it to be more like a
Lionsgate, the distributor of John Wick, we should say.
Yeah, but he wanted it to be like a cool minimalist spy thriller, and I think the movie does work for me in the sense. I mean, what the point of minimalism is? What, to strip away things that are maybe conventional elements of storytelling that are rewarding for the audience, and saying, if I deprive you of these and just let you focus on what is left, right, it'll maybe give you a new relationship with those things. At least, right. I don't know. It seems to me to be the case. And I think in this movie, there maybe isn't as much there to see once you strip some of the stuff away. But I do think, like Bubble, it is still an effective exercise because it does sort of bring out some weirdness. And if we're talking about a PMC person who we're not sure whether we want to root for, having somebody who we maybe think is impressive, but it's not like we care about her that much. Her one relationship in the film seems to be to her dad that is like a existing depth, and there's not even that much to their relationship, right? It seems like they have very minimal contact with each other. And so I think in that way it sort of like follows its own rules in a way that I respect. It's not sort of doubling back and trying to get some amount of indulgence. It is saying like, well, I don't want you to care about this person that much, and will you still go along with the movie?
Yeah.
Will you still go along
How
with the story
little thread can I give you and still have you locked in, right? Like having like bad guy number one, like that stuck out in my head as like, it's not even a name. It's like just the guy we need to chase after. Like
he's doing it like a black box production. Almost.
Yeah.
So Nayman quotes from a pretty fascinating piece in the feminist film journal Clio by Kiva Reardon that I'd like to read from.
Yeah. Cool.
As Soderbergh found her voice to be too stereotypically feminine, she was dubbed out in post-production. Ostensibly, Carano didn't have a speaking part. Though typically this could be read as silencing, Carano is never truly quiet on screen. A physical presence in nearly every scene, she communicates, as it were, through a pure bodily performance. Mallory's body propels the film and narrative forward as the camera seemingly struggles to keep pace with her. And she goes on to say, her performance is one that is body-based, though not in the conventional sense when it comes to the female form. She doesn't strip or dance, nor is her hard body fragmented into breasts and butts, separate sexualized entities from her kicking legs or punching arms. Carano stars as a unified whole body that is primed to function, even though she's told to shut up. She's never silent, it's all body talk. So the way that, like, in this reading, the sort of medium shots become like a commentary on the male gaze, on gender depiction, by not doing an extreme close-up on butts and stuff.
I'm intrigued by that because I think it also, that kind of responds to your point about her maybe being uncinematic or like unshowman or unshowwomanish in her performance. Maybe you are being the misogynist here because maybe the expectation is that like her body has to be performing in a way that is visually rewarding for you. I don't necessarily mean like sexually titillating, but just like is doing something that, you know, in the Jackie Chan or Charlie Chaplin or Mr. Bean continuum, right? It's sort of like doing something that to me is engaging and makes me happy versus doing something that is like just an impressive human performance, which I think is what, you know, in MMA, like you're saying, it is not stylistic, but it is at the limits of what humans can achieve in a very specific direction.
Right. Reardon points to the part where where Mallory asks Kenneth, "Do you want me to be eye candy? You want me to wear the dress?" I don't even know how to play that to suggest that she is a kind of, she occupies an interesting gendered space of the type that Gina Carano herself seems critical of. Call her gender critical. How about? Yeah. Should we talk about why she's bad?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So Gina Carano, you must know her as Cara Dune. A lot of people think Cara Dune before they think Gina Carano because of her indelible performance in The Mandalorian. Yeah. Where she's like a cop or something. She's like Goku's friend or whatever. The little, Goku, the little guy.
I know about Goku, yeah.
Mandalorian and Goku. So she is on the big Star Wars show. She's not good on it. I think it's fair to say.
And she's not on it anymore, I believe, right?
She's not on it anymore
Got in trouble. Yeah.
I wonder what happened.
She said on twitter.com that let's see here.
Some stuff that I'm curious what Aaron Cohen would say about
that. Yeah, so she was she said, she posted like a picture of a concentration camp, I believe. The Lviv train station. She said that Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views?
It's extraordinarily different. Yeah. This is the product of a mind that has not applied itself correctly.
Yeah. So a political view and like a long-held religious tradition that's also racialized.
Lineage. Yeah, exactly.
That's very different.
The political group being criticized also having pretty much all the power in the United States as well. Basically control every branch of the government.
Specifically being the group that historically excluded other people from participation.
Yes. Despite being a numerical minority, still hold excess power. She had also changed her profile or her pronouns in her social media bios by adding boop/bop/beep. And then apparently Pedro Pascal, who has a sister who is trans, explained to her that people declare their pronouns to support those in the trans community, to normalize everyone making it clear what their pronouns are. So it's less of a marker of difference. And she said that she wouldn't be putting her pronouns in her bio as a decision to, quote, stand against bullying and to uphold the freedom to choose.
Yeah.
And then she was let go by the Disney company. She was her character was removed from the show. She threw a little hissy fit, publicly asking Elon Musk to fund her lawsuit against Disney. Disney tried to have it thrown out, and a judge actually did not. They refused to toss out the lawsuit, but they settled out of court, I think, to just make her shut up.
Yeah, it was part of his, like, anybody who, like, lost their job due to posts on X, formerly Twitter, he would fund. I wonder if he's still doing that. I don't know.
He likes to say he's going to give people money and then doesn't. And then she says she didn't fumble the bag. She didn't go along with the sellout narrative.
People who didn't fumble the bag love
She's not sorry for that. Yeah. And
what are you gonna do? Shoot me?
Yeah.
Guy who was shot.
Yeah. He said that to Laura St. Jacob.
I mean, it's weird because she is like a boundary breaker in some regard, right? But I think it's maybe just a lesson that also this is some of the limits of identity politics are sort of like, well, just putting people in positions of power and where they're maybe making commentary. Because she spoke in public about, for example, her armor on the Mandalorian. She wanted it to be, she didn't want to look like a refrigerator, I believe she said, right? She wanted it to maintain some amount of femininity while also being practical, like a real intergalactic police person would wear.
Right, and she's obviously had
LEO,
people both say,
exactly,
like, you're very pretty for someone who fights or whatever, which is its own kind of weird thing, and had a lot of criticism of her weight, yada yada.
Yeah,
and then, but at the same time, to not then connect from there to like, well, what? How difficult would it be if you outwardly presented as masculine, but you knew in your heart that you're a woman? That would be like an even worse version of the thing I experienced as an MMA fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe elements of traditional gender expression aren't true for all people, and maybe we have to figure out what it actually looks like for each individual.
Maybe that I don't know, that feeling she had when her armor wasn't like, to the kind of whatever, wasn't representing how she felt, maybe thinking about how that feeling might extend to other people around you.
And maybe
if that were your physical body, for example. Yeah,
maybe everyone's calling you Baby Yoda, but you know that your name is Goku, and people still say Baby Yoda. They don't want to call you your real name.
Yeah.
Yes, I would like to see the baby.
50, but you only live like 700 years, so I guess you're a baby for like a lot of your life.
Yeah, you're like most of your time you're a baby. You're like a little guy. Yeah. And I'm sort of borrowing this observation from Luke Savage of the Michael and Us podcast, but it's a well observed one. Conservatives, and look, we can't look to conservatives for ideological consistency. Mm-hmm. Part of their thing is that they just get to be right about whatever's in front of them. But if you're a conservative and you love the free market and you love corporate personhood and the freedom of a corporation to speak, the Walt Disney Company is looking at the free market. They're looking at market forces and saying, it seems like it would be bad for our bottom line to employ someone who said this stuff. So we're going to get rid of her. We're going to not employ her anymore based on their right as a corporation or whatever. And this is not an ideological move by Bob Iger. This is a move based on what they think, like,
purely
same
cynical.
Thing with the Bud Light thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we can sell more Bud Light if we put rainbow flags on some of the boxes of Bud Light or whatever. Right. And they did. And yet she's like throwing a fucking hissy fit over getting canned for, first of all, saying something very loudly and publicly, not holding the view, but like expressing it. And granted, she was professionally getting hit in the head.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
But not that much, as we pointed out. She only had like 8 professional fights.
She lost to Cyborg. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She lost to Cyborg.
Should have more sympathy.
Yeah, we should. It's, I guess, gonna come first.
Timmy.
Yeah.
Source
but she like, it's such an own goal, such a stupid fucking thing to do, and like, it seems like The Mandalorian is one of the easiest shows in the world to be on because you just go to the same Glendale parking lot to stand in front of the big screen. Yeah. So I have no sympathy for her. I watched the trailer for Terror on the Prairie, the Daily Wire produced Western starring her and a different MMA guy whose name is literally Cowboy. Where she's like, it's interesting. It's trying to do kind of a feminist thing, but like from a Daily Wire perspective, where she's a gal who is besieged in a house where a bunch of scary men have come to try to, it seems like, assault her, but also like take the house or maybe kill her or something. And she's in there with her rifle, but also wearing like a flowy white prairie wife dress,
sort of like a stand your ground sort of.
Yeah, and then she talks about how God is gonna, steady her rifle or something like that. And this movie was produced by Daily Wire. I guess Daily Wire is a think it's a subscription service because it initially was going to be made available to their viewers, but then they decided, I guess, for more publicity or something, they had a 1-day
pay-per-view
U.S. theatrical release where it made $804. And then they had a more extended theatrical release in 2 countries, Russia and the United Arab Emirates. So I don't really know what's going on with like conservative guys.
There's maybe some secret threads here in that it's a reminder both for Israel and for this specific stripe of kind of feminists where if you're aware of real historical oppression, misdeeds, suffering, it doesn't always lead you to say like, well, how can I be on the side of all people who are experiencing those types of things and imagine a more liberated world? It can just put you in a position where you become extremely insecure and fascistically scared of everybody else sort of continuing to assault the things that you think are in danger and saying like, well, now basically because my group was in danger, real danger in the past, now I have to go to any ends to secure them for the future, right? To put myself in a good position.
It's just logical fallacy after logical fallacy. Like the danger isn't for anyone Jewish at any time. It is for people who are being oppressed in this specific state sanctioned and like systematic way. And sometimes those people are Jewish, certainly.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not. And, who came to her defense, speaking of petrostates, is Bill Burr, Riyadh Comedy Festival headliner. Bill Burr.
What did he say?
He said she was a sweetheart and criticized her firing. And also, people who are interpersonally nice to you can have bad political views. That's something that's true. Ryan and I get along, but...
Yeah, I'm a real fascist over here.
The blue-haired fascist logging on.
Was Bill Burr like in like one episode of that show?
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was on The Mandalorian.
That's right.
Were they?
He was in 1 or 2 episodes.
They were on screen together. Yeah.
Which, like, who gives a fuck, dude? Yeah. I saw it when I saw Avatar: Fire and Ash. They have this IMAX like countdown thing.
This shit was so ugly.
So they did a special like
stuff in the world.
Branded. You know when the minions tell you to turn your phone off or whatever.
Yeah.
This is a branded IMAX countdown thing with the Mandalorian and Grogu, and I swear, the one that they've been showing for 15 years, the one that I saw before Gravity, looks better and brighter than the one that they made for the Mandalorian movie.
To me, this looked like when TGIF for Halloween would have like a little interstitial that they'd obviously shot in like 19 minutes at the end of the day and then had somebody animate it equally quickly.
But that's kind of charming. And this is the thing that the richest entertainment company in the world is making to
show off the physical technology
to
and the
promote
sort of
their new
heights
movie
they've achieved.
No one would say, where is it, if they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Talk about own goals. So that disproves that you can be the hottest woman in America as voted by Big Biz magazine
2008.
in spring 2008 and then end up in Terror on the Prairie. It proves their Carano second acts in American lives.
Carano.
Yeah. Gina Carano. Sounds like something I would say.
Hey, do I sound like Gina Carano?
Wait, can you say that again?
Whoa, scary.
Hey, do I sound like Gina Carano?
Whoa.
I mean, a little,
like
I guess like Mallory Kane.
Yeah.
What about now?
Wah, wah, wah. Nobody will let me say that people frowning when I'm homophobic is the same thing as being murdered in a gas chamber.
Yeah, you sound more like her now.
Perfect.
So I could feel like I could hear the hat. Any final thoughts?
I had a question for Ryan before we wrap up here, which is, I mean, you mentioned some of the overlap with Alan Rudolph, which I think we mostly brought up for the 90s Soderbergh when, yes, he was borrowing explicitly from some of the Rudolph crew. But I do think that there is some interest in changing like narrative grammar, character grammar. I'm a big fan of Choose Me, I think, and I'm curious what you think about what is exciting when people are trying to do this, trying to say like, well, can you make a movie with some of the elements that people understand and some things that they might not be ready for, sort of, Cousin Marvin style. When is this successful? Do you think it always has to be successful? Is it just like a good thing to try to do? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it is always like a good approach to have that kind of, even just the concept of this movie, like it's such a like bare bones kind of spy thriller, but with that kind of just having a little bit of this like kind of artsiness to it. I think even just bringing that mindset to it makes it interesting. And that's what I think it made Haywire, I think, more interesting to me in the first half. I think it lost me a little in the second half, where I think it kind of, and I think Alan Rudolph sometimes even had this issue where like things sometimes didn't always like come together in maybe a satisfying way, although maybe you could argue it doesn't have to be satisfying because it's trying to be a little off kilter. But yeah, I don't know, something about that house at the end, I just was like, oh, all right, I guess that's this is kind of an interesting, like, everybody's here. And then honestly, the bit at the end with Ewan McGregor on the beach, and she sort of
we didn't even talk about that fight.
Yeah,
it is interesting.
She sort of like Barry Egan style, like like walks from one area to the next, like across the world to Mexico.
Yeah. Apparently they had like 45 minutes over 2 days, like 2 45-minute
because of the
shooting
sunset,
times. Yeah. So they had to get it all done in over 2 days for 45 minutes while the sun's going down.
I mean, it's appealingly unappealing in the sense that like a lot of the lighting makes it difficult to see sort of like the features we would pay attention to in a fight. You can still tell what's happening, but it's sort of, you're not excited to follow the action. And then ultimately the way that he gets beaten is, it's like
pretty gnarly.
It's like happenstance. It is gnarly.
Like a medieval, like letting the tide drown him.
Yeah. Turns out he was a witch. Yeah. It reminded me of the kind of smeary, gray sepia toned flashback stuff in the Limey. There's some more, some. I think it's a lake shore, maybe the ocean there. But I think it calls back to that. And Soderbergh obviously invoking the Limey a lot and talking about this movie and conceiving it with
Dobbs. Yeah.
Although weird because part of our discussion for the Limey was that Lem Dobbs had initially written a more conventional script, and then they sort of together arrived at this kind of elliptical and recursive thing, and now maybe they're just both on board with it.
Maybe
they're trying to push it. Yeah.
Talk about elliptical. The some of the editing in this, like the 180 degree kind of jumps they do, where it almost looks like you're kind of rotating around people. Like,
it's cool.
Yeah, I like it. It's interesting.
I was thinking, like, if you know what you're doing, the rule doesn't matter.
Yeah, I like that rule breaking. We're going back to that, like, kind of intentionally messing with a familiar subject, right?
Yeah.
It's cool to see that CGI deer technology has not improved at all.
I like when it cuts and you can just see the like doll of the
the deer doll.
And also, that's the type of thing where is that like this lady such an operator that barely disturbs her, or is that Carano couldn't really act pretending that a deer had just come through the back window of her car?
And that's some of the frisson of cinema, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know if is Scorsese lying about the film getting exposed at the end of The Last Temptation of Christ, or is that part of the miracle of celluloid?
Yep.
We'll never know.
This movie, no celluloid though. It's all red.
I was gonna say this is some of the least celluloid.
It's all red digital. Yeah. I looked it up. There was a
more yellow. I think yellow digital to me. Final thoughts, Ryan?
I don't know if I have much more to say on Haywire. It's very like straightforward. Like it is kind of like you're getting what you're getting here. Although I think there's always stuff to dig up, and I think it's interesting. Contagion and this film, whether it's the Aaron Cohen or like the weird like Abu Dhabi production thing,
Image Nation,
with Contagion, like it's like we can never escape this stuff. I don't know, like it's like even in just like the most basic kind of like artsy thriller, why there's still like some kind of like evil involved.
Yeah, there's
capitalism. I don't know.
Omar Sakr he's an Australian poet of Turkish and Lebanese parentage, who I follow on Twitter. I like him quite a bit. He really riled up Australian racists by writing, I believe, a poem or maybe an article about watching Bluey with his kid, I think, and some mention of one of the fucking like Bluey's uncle or whatever was in Afghanistan.
Whoa.
And he was talking about like I can't escape this even in Bluey. We can't just have like a little show about dogs who learn to share without invoking wars of empire.
That is some of the weirdness of the PMC stuff, right? It's like it's meant to isolate us from it, to like firewall us away from the worst stuff that we're conducting as an empire, but it also brings it into a sphere we all understand much better, which is like the company that's in the office park by your house. Right. That's who's doing it now.
It's that it's, or like even like The Informant, right? It's like guys in the most boring office in the world. It could be anywhere in the world.
Shittiest office in the world. So it's a productive ugliness.
Right. Yeah.
Like 1517.
It's all yellow.
That's right.
I mean, that first scene with Ewan McGregor.
Hey, and Mr. Gwyneth Paltrow warned us about this.
Sorry. Chris Martin.
Yellow.
Yeah. Apple's father. Yeah. That first scene with McGregor, and it's just that gross. I mean, it reminded me of The Informant. Of like,
very
that,
much.
Like kind of like boring, drab, but like the things they're discussing are of like
the murder of dozens of people.
Murdering a journalist, right? Like for this kind of human trafficking ring that he exposed, right? Like, isn't that what ultimately the plot comes out to? I don't know if we ever like finished talking about the story.
Is it ultimately a Sound of Freedom thing? I don't remember. I mean, it's just like cleaning up their own mess kind of thing. Yeah. It's a blowback thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So as of 2022, Carano's final role was Agent Hound in My Son Hunter. She plays a Secret Service agent.
Woof.
In the Daily Wire. But somehow as the Secret Service agent, she is apparently second billed in that film above the guy who plays Biden.
Cool.
Sorry, that's not a Daily Wire film. That's a Breitbart News film.
Oh, nice.
There's deeper depths.
I didn't know they had a streaming service. I guess everybody's got one now.
Yeah. The Guardian's review called it the debut fiction attempt of some documentaries.
Whoa.
All right. Well, that's about it for our episode on Haywire. We have we actually have two closing segments. We should return to our abandoned stupid initial closing segment.
This makes the most sense so far.
Now it's time for Going Haywire, the part of the show where we pick which character from the film we'd most like to see overdubbed by actress Laura San Giacomo.
I think Banderas in a cancelable. I guess he's Spanish, but what she would be doing would be, I think, still cancelable. Like if she does kind of the
like
voice.
A Cheech Marin, like kind of.
Oh boy, yeah, the Speedy Gonzalez. Yeah, that's my pick.
Good pick.
San Giacomo, that's sort of like a Latin sounding name, though, right?
It's Italian, but that's
Italian,
a type of
that's where the
original Latin there.
Al Pacino, he played a Cuban guy.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with Fassbender because I couldn't hear him very well in the movie, so maybe she could put up the decibels a little bit.
Boosted like Bane in Dark Knight Rises.
In a mask, yeah.
I'm gonna go for. We haven't talked about the David Holmes score, which I think is one of the better pieces
you
of
want
this.
Her to
also,
scat it.
Yeah, that is basically what I'm gonna say.
Good.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna bring her in as like a high snare or whatever. I think that's cool.
You can speak scat guy. Great, and then our
more scat.
Yeah, Muay Thai. What? So then our more recent closing segment.
This is Popcornopolis, the segment where we ask our guest, do you like popcorn?
Ryan, do you like popcorn?
Love the stuff. I love it. I got the Flavacol. I got the coconut oil. I got it.
Oh, yeah.
So
wow.
if you guys ever come by my house.
Yeah, I would love to come have some of the popcorn at your house.
Well, speaking of at Seattle Cinerama, now known as the SIF Downtown, famous for their chocolate popcorn.
Interesting.
I don't mess with that.
Is it coated?
I'm so sorry.
They have a powder.
It's a powder. It is, I believe, just Flavacol chocolate flavored powder that you put like on the kernels, and then when it pops, it just sort of infuses. I've never had it. It smells weird. You can smell it when you're in the theater.
So you've yet to answer the call.
Yeah, exactly.
The flavor call.
Ghostbusters 2016.
Yeah. One of the most disorientingly edited movies. Clearly there's like entire set pieces just gone.
Let's just say I let that one go to voicemail. Okay. All right.
Hey, okay. All right. Okay.
Dennis Miller, babe.
I fucking too many chicks, right? I recently had a new type of popcorn, new brand of popcorn. Driving back down from my parents' house after Christmas time.
Did they get you the big barrel with the?
They sent us with a bag of Bjorn corn, which is a real Whole Foods ass. It's just like it's nutritional yeast popcorn, as Ian is described as an Australian type.
I do believe
this
that.
is I assume. Okay, so it's from a Minnesota guy named Bjorn, I guess, but he's probably one of your type of guys, or Swedish.
Actually, I think at least one side of my family is was located around there.
I mean,
that's where all those
damn
Bjorn and raised. And my stepmom kept saying, "Yeah, it's really good. They put brewer's yeast on it." And it's not. It's just like really in like really big letters. It says nutritional yeast on it. But anyway, it's good. It was pretty good. I eated it, and it comes in I think a very responsible sized bag, where if you eat the whole thing, you're not going to get sick. Ian, any popcorn stuff going on for you?
Yeah, speaking of eating the whole thing and not really feeling sick, I also went to see Avatar Fire and Ash, 9 a.m. showing, IMAX showing. Only time we could get tickets for the big old screen, the Metreon.
Oh, that's a big screen.
Yeah. And look, I took old JC's advice. Now, not Last Temptation of Christ, but James Cameron himself. He recommended, when people were asking him, when do we go to the bathroom? Why is there an intermission? He said, if you eat enough salty popcorn, I think the way the science works is that it absorbs all the water and you don't have to go to the bath.
Well, I mean, there's some electrolytes in there, right?
Yeah, I got the large popcorn for myself. I did think the other people with me were going to eat some. They didn't. So I finished it solo and I didn't have to go to the bathroom. So I mean, this man's he's been places that no other man has been. And I think he might just
has.
He took a bunch of acid and ate a bunch of popcorn. And
he knows what's happening in our bodies. He was right. Yeah.
And we'll leave you with this. Well, we can't leave you yet, but when James Cameron came back from one of those places he's been, Bill Paxton was there to tell him that 9/11 had happened. You got to watch this video. Both towers, Jim. Kind of a Patrick Warburton. Anyway, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Oh, absolutely.
Such a pleasure to have you back. Good to
be back.
Anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, you can check out, I hosted this show called Altmania. It's all available up on your regular streaming stuff. Went into the filmography of Robert Altman, Alan Rudolph, some of Jonathan Demme. Sort of been
Paul Thomas Anderson.
PTA, yes. Sort of gone on a hiatus for the moment, but I am in the midst of recording music. Maybe it'll become some kind of record or something.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I've been recording it to tape right here on this machine.
Oh, wow.
I got drums in the back here. Been getting to work.
Shit.
So maybe whenever I finish that up, I can come back and plug it. But
that would be wonderful. We'd love that.
Pretty booked. No, that'd be great.
I can't wait to come on for Steven Soderbergh Project 2028 or whatever you.
The Luigi movie, probably.
Think about how tall he must be.
Luigi.
Paper Luigi.
Oh, because he's taller than Mario.
Luigi Mario.
Yeah. He didn't do it, by the way. Everyone make sure you're saying alleged when you're talking about Luigi Mangione. Well, for us, remember to subscribe, rate us, write a review. Helps us on the algorithm. If you like the show, tell a friend, tell your dad. Aaron Cohen. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Podcasting For Me. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you're interested in co-hosting a two-person Steven Soderbergh podcast, you can email us at podcastingforme@gmail.com. All of this is at podcastingforme.com and shootingyourselfinthehead.com. Thank you to Jeremy Allison for our artwork. We'll be back next week with a Patreon episode, and the week after that with Magical Michael and the famous Channing Tatum penis story. So tune in.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.